Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Secova Metals channel with an experienced team discovering high-valued assets during this commodities boom. Joining us, as always, the Chief Executive Officer, Brad Kitchen. Welcome back, sir.
Hi, Kyle. How are you? Thanks for having me back.
I'm living the dream, man, and it's always a pleasure to have you back. We have so much to dive into today, and I want to start off with that broad view picture with these geopolitical tensions, and obviously in the mix of inflation and interest rates, investors just can't catch a break here, but it is leading to this incredible commodities boom. Gold's pushing up toward $2,000 an ounce. Is there any insights you can offer here being on the gold front?
Well, it is a sad situation in Europe. And as a result, gold right now, as we're speaking, is about 1964 US, 1970. What that means for Secova is that it actually changes a lot of our projections on where we'll be over the next year as far as revenue goes. So Secova itself is focusing on getting into production as soon as possible. And with that, we're looking again at 6 to 9 months from now. Since we last spoke, there's been a lot happening with the company. We've completed a couple of things from the technical resource perspective. We filed an NI 43-101 that basically brought us up to a good base. But from that resource, we've developed a 275 hole drill program. And we're currently 90 holes into it as we're speaking right now. So that's progressing. Even with snow on the ground, it's actually a good time to do the exploration. And from that, it's going to provide us a detailed resource of the tailings over and above the 462,000 tons that we have. We're hoping to get to the 1.4 million target. In addition, it will help us from a logistic perspective, knowing exactly where the gold's in situ on the tailings, so that when we get into processing, and again, we're hoping to do that within the next 6 to 9 months, then we'll be able to process things a lot more efficiently. So that in a nutshell is what we've done in the last couple of weeks. In addition, we've completed the engineering for the mill. And if you get a chance, what I do is I encourage your listeners or viewers to go to the website at secova.ca. There is a link to the model, and it's pretty cool. It's a 3D model of the plant and the processing inside the plant. And it's a little bit like going to a James Bond video game. You can actually walk up the catwalks, you can take a look around, you can move through the whole building. And it's for me, it's very exciting because it shows how everything is going to come together. So that's a big step. In addition, the majority of the heavy equipment was brought in over the last couple of weeks. So this was 11 huge transport trucks, brought in our ball crushers, brought in our compressors, brought in some of the pumps. So for us, a huge step. The next process, so that's where we stand right now. We're currently drilling 275 holes to determine exactly what the tailings resource is over and above what we already know. We're at a stage where we're going to be going for tender in the next 2 or 3 weeks to start construction at the beginning of April. We believe that construction will be about 6 to 9 months, and we'll be turning the switch before the end of the year. So what that means for us in our first year of production is roughly $18 million in revenue. And that's going to continue over the next four and a half years, where we'll be bringing in $95 million of revenue. So that's just sitting there on the ground. In addition to that tailings and what's just sitting there, we also were on a mine site, and that was a mine for roughly 80 years, from 1910 to 1990. And there's never been a very good model on how the gold's in situ. So what we're going to start after we finish our drill program on the tailings, we're going to do a hard rock drill program. And that's going to be able to define and build a model so that we can see exactly where the gold is and how much gold there is underground. So that's sort of the blue sky. So we've got the hard and true $95 million of revenue coming in the next 4 years. Then we've got the blue sky of gold in the ground. Historically, that's been about 3.5 times larger than the tailings. And we feel that there's going to be roughly 9 to 12 years of production after we finish processing the tailings.
Oh, wow.
So sorry, Kyle, I was rambling there for a little bit, but there's been a lot that's happened.
No, that's incredible. I think you just offered some incredible insight, the broad view picture there. Do you mind mentioning as well when we could start seeing those first drill results come in from the current few holes out of that 275 program?
Well, we're still in a bit of a supply chain issue with COVID. So the labs themselves are taking about 8 to 12 weeks to process. Our first truckload, and this is we have 5 tailing piles. And our first tailing pile, the largest one, Anacon, we've just completed the drilling on that this morning. What we're going to do is take the tailings from that and have them processed right away. So you'll be seeing something probably about the beginning of May is when the first results should start to come in. So we're not going to wait until we complete the whole drilling. We're going to do it batch by batch or pile by pile, if you will. I just want to remind everybody, this is a very, very simple transaction to understand. We believe that there's 1.4 million tons of tailings at Montauban, and we're now fully permitted. And this is the key. A lot of people are going into production, but that going into production will take 4 or 5 years. We're fully permitted. We will be up and running by the end of the year, and that's a key value added portion for us. So the permits that we have will allow us to process 1,000 tons a day, and we're grading roughly 1 gram a ton. So that means we'll be producing 1,000 grams of gold per day, or roughly 35 ounces. So every day, Kyle, we're going to be producing roughly 70,000 US at today's market. Cost to produce that is roughly about $20,000 to $25,000 Canadian. So we're going to be netting anywhere between $40,000 to $60,000 a day, 300 to 320 days a year for the next 4.5 years. So I like talking about it because it's simple. It's not pie in the sky. This is all laid out in the NI 43 101s. So it's something that I can address, I can talk to easily. Then on top of that, because it was a mine for so many years and there hasn't been a good gold model, I think there's so much blue sky at Montauban that we'll be able to produce for an additional 9 to 12 years after that.
I don't think you could have touched on that any better. I was going to ask you about the margin rates, but obviously you guys planned out some pretty incredible margins, and as gold peaks higher while you get these projects off the ground this year is only going to bode better for the company. I mean, these are incredible upsides or insights. I really appreciate your time today, Brad. Thanks so much for coming out.
Oh, Kyle, thank you very much for having me, and I appreciate you helping me get the message out.
Always a pleasure. On that note, folks, I'm going to pass that question off to you. Let us know what you think in that comment section below. Consider subscribing because as news comes down the wire, we get more updates. We'll be revealing them here, but stay cool, stay awesome. And as always, I look forward to catching you in the next one.